from 2012 through 2019, you have, okay, with one slight exception, underperformed the benchmark.
Yes.
And but the total result is really big. So when you 7 years underperform the benchmark, 4 of which double digit or near double digit, how can it be that in the end you have such a great result?
Yeah, Arnaud, that's a great question. So we do have to keep in mind that this is a pretty long backtest period, and that every system goes into phase and out of phase with the market. So we're going to have periods where we have greater return and lesser return. So that's going to be true for every system. And yeah, it is true that this system did underperform the S&P for that chunk of years. And I was actually personally trading momentum systems during that time. And what I found in all the systems I was trading in a number of momentum systems that I researched, is momentum systems in general, almost across the board, did not outperform the S&P during that time. The S&P performed better than momentum systems. And what we're going to look at a little bit later on today is the definition of how we know that the system is not working. And that has to do with maximum drawdown and Monte Carlo projections. So during this time, that those years that you were talking about there, which is kind of basically this flat period through here, the system never exceeded its maximum drawdown, and it never exceeded the performance parameters that we projected with Monte Carlo simulations. So we kept trading. And I'm really glad we did, because coming out of those years, we can see that the performance has just been absolutely fantastic. So the question that you're pointing to, it really brings up 2 things. So number 1, how do we know that a system's not working? And number 2, what are our objectives? So for me personally, my objective is not to beat the S&P, right? They call that alpha in the investing world. I can't pay my bills with alpha. I can only pay my bills with dollars. So as long as I'm meeting my return objectives and I'm not exceeding my maximum drawdown, for me as a trader, for me as an investor, my rule is I keep trading. And I'm really glad I did. I know a number of traders who just stopped trading momentum because they were seeking alpha. They wanted to beat the S&P. For them, that was important. And I'm not saying that's wrong. If that's an objective you have, that's fantastic. For me, the system continued to meet my objectives, and I'm very happy that I stayed with momentum systems, because systems go in phase, they go out of phase. What I found for momentum systems is they tend to, it tends to work like this. You'll have a period of underperformance, and then that will be followed by a period of overperformance. So for me, I want to be in a system long-term that I know is going to hit my objectives. Maybe not every year, maybe not every smaller chunk of a handful of years, but for longer-term systems, this is, for me, an important element of it. Does that help answer your question?